I said yesterday that at some point the page will be turned from Championship Sunday, and in particular from Championship Sunday, the way the NFC Championship game ended in regulation with the brutal non-call of pass interference that forced the Saints to kick a field goal on the spot to go up 3 points to take a lead in the NFC Championship game with about 90 seconds to go. Forced the Saints to do that as opposed to allowing the Saints with a pass interference call to essentially cause the Rams to burn all their remaining timeouts, take the time on the clock down to mere seconds to go, kick a field goal that everyone assumes would go through the uprights because it would be a mere layup, and go off to the Super Bowl and represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. And at some point, as I said, we're going to turn the page and talk about Rams versus Patriots. That day is apparently still not today. That day is apparently not the Tuesday after.
This wound's going to take a while to heal.
It is, and I understand it hurts. It hurts. It's a blown call. We talked about it at length with Mike Pereira, the former head of NFL refs and current Fox Rules analyst on Fox Sports. If you missed any of that conversation yesterday, to paraphrase, it's inexcusable. He does not believe anybody should lose their jobs. He's like, is D. Ford going to get fired because he was lined up in the neutral zone that wiped out the interception that would have sent Kansas City to the Super Bowl? Essentially, that game was over prior to overtime. That was another championship game that went to overtime that should not have, but the refs did appropriately call D. Ford for being in the neutral zone. He's like, is D. Ford going to get fired by the Chiefs because of that inexcusable, egregious error that caused his team to not go to the Super Bowl, or at least caused that game to go into overtime in which his team could not win? Of course not. And now we're seeing what the aftermath is going to be. Here's the aftermath of what's being discussed today. My colleagues Judy Battista and Steve Weich, reporting from the NFL Media Group, talking to members of the competition committee, of which Sean Payton is one, that when they meet in Indianapolis, their first meeting to discuss rules changes that in advance of their meeting that they will have before the league meeting, there's 3 meetings. They're going to meet before they meet before everybody meets. Does that make sense?
No.
I should say this on Dan Patrick's show on Friday, because that would be the one hell of a meet Friday.
Hey now.
Hey now. So that Judy Battista and Steve Weich reporting that whatever is being discussed or whatever is going to be on the table, whatever I guess the consensus is before everybody meets, the scuttlebutt of everybody talking to each other and what the sense would be that ownership would be willing to accept in this day and age where we're waiting for a shutdown to end, and apparently we're not going to get anything put forward unless it's going to be able to be signed by somebody. So I guess whatever the competition committee knows would be willing to be accepted by management that would sign off on it is apparently a review process that allows reviews of pass interference calls, but only ones that were made, not ones that weren't made. And maybe other penalties. So challenge flags can't fly under a supposed new process unless the yellow flag flew. Red flags can't be thrown unless a yellow flag's been thrown. If a yellow flag is not thrown, a red flag won't be able to be thrown, or at least that's believed that management, NFL ownership would not sign off on the possibility of throwing a red flag because a yellow one wasn't thrown. To which I say, you got to be kidding me. Why are we changing things if it's not to fix the glaring omission that has caused us to have a conversation about fixing stuff? It makes no sense. It's as if, and I know this is a terrible analogy, but I'm going to say that with a caveat. It's as if the Darth Vader's rebuilding the Death Star and he doesn't fix what allowed the rebels to blow it up.
Pretty good analogy, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I like
but
that.
I don't want to equate the NFL to Vader and the Death Star.
Well, everyone already thinks the Patriots is the evil empire. So
But you know what I'm
fine.
saying? Like, okay, let's rebuild the Death Star, but let's leave this one Achilles spot that, let's say, some kid from Tatooine gets a few friends of his together, and then they could fly through some alley and then just fire off one torpedo and blow the whole darn thing up again.
Great shot.
Why is that really what's going to happen in the NFL? Please, make it all reviewable. Make it all reviewable. All of it. Don't expand the number of challenges, though. Expand the ability, the library of what could be reviewable, but don't expand the challenges. Do that for one preseason. Let's do that. Next preseason, let's do it. See how it works. Then we'll do it for a regular season and see how that works. And if it's completely unbearable, then we'll have to go back and figure something out. Can we do that? What's so tough about that?
This might be a hot take, but what if we don't do anything? Like, it was one bad call. It's an anomaly. And it happened, and the Saints fans and their team and their city got screwed. But that's sports. It's been going on since sports were invented. And I'm sorry, don't blow a 13-0 lead at home. And let's move on. It's fine. NFL is totally fine how it is.
I understand that philosophy, but when, as you say, in the decades of this is the way it's been, there weren't 4K television sets the size of a wall that people are seeing it on. I mean, we're seeing it. It's the technology's there to fix it. It's there. It's being used.
But we're going to super slow-mo every single thing. Like, that's not how the sport is played out. It's played out super fast by these super huge, strong, fit, smart players.
Yes.
And I think we need to referee in the same way. Refereeing in super slow motion, that's not how the game is played.
I know that, but we shouldn't have what happened in the NFC Championship. We just shouldn't. We shouldn't. It's a terrible look for the league. It's terrible. It's terrible. It scars fans.
But as every Rams fan is pointing out, well, what about the face mask they missed on Goff?
No, I know.
That makes it 1st and goal, and now suddenly they're up 4.
Challenge that. Give Sean McVay the ability to challenge that. What's wrong with that? I mean, give the ability for
I just don't think that's what we want in our sports.
Give the ability for the Steelers to challenge the fact that there was a clear false start on a Chargers touchdown that allowed them to start coming back. Why couldn't that be in Mike Tomlin's arsenal? It should be. Let's fix some of the glaring stuff. And then if it opens up to the minutia overcoming the game, then we fix that.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.